She's been involved in giving workshops on roots of empathy at the working with the Unitarian Church. And it made me think that in the absence of community, we're all strangers. So it is so important. Dominique is committed to creating opportunities for people to learn about compassionate communication, nonviolent communication, but I prefer the term compassionate communication. And she's also my daughter, and she is the mother of my 3 grandchildren. Our journey together, I have to say, has been full of adventures and fun and love and learning and discovery. She's an avid kayaker, and she's passed that on to me. She's an avid cyclist, something that I also share, and we've had some cycling trips together. So it's my honor and my privilege to have my daughter here with me today.
Thank you. So I want to tell you about my discovery of a process of communication that's helped me bring more peace inside me and in my family. And it encourages me to use my intuition and to be compassionate, first with myself and with my family and with others. And it stretches me to be more creative and to grow spiritually. So my mom mentioned nonviolent communication, and lots of people prefer compassionate communication, and the acronym is NVC. Is there other people who've heard of that before? If you can show me, holy smokes. So I understand that it is pretty, there's a lot of people working on nonviolent communication in Victoria, which is wonderful. I learned about the roots of empathy from my mom and in my family. And that's where it grew. And then the nonviolent communication my sister-in-law shared with me, and my brother and I would watch her parent, and we didn't get it, and it took us a very long time to get it. And we judged her, and we didn't agree with the way she did things, and it took us probably about 10 years to start figuring it out. And the pivotal moment for me was a time when we were playing with our kids in the cul-de-sac in front of my house, and my then almost 5-year-old son kept going beyond where I had told him was safe. And I said, the next time you do that, you're going to go in the house, which was my style of parenting. And my brother, who had been having private lessons from his partner, quietly called me over, and he said, "Dominique, what do you think your son's needs are?" And I said, well, to do whatever his cousin is doing, to do what his big cousin is doing. And he said, well, and what are your needs? And I said, well, for him to be safe and for them to have fun. And he said, well, do you think there's another way that you could make that happen? And I thought, oh, okay. And so I simply walked over to my nephew and said, do you think you could stay in the cul-de-sac so that my son will be safe? And that was the beginning. And it sounds so simple, and it was easy, and isn't always that easy. But and that was the beginning of my understanding of looking at conflict, especially with my kids, and then in lots of other situations, but about looking at it in a different way. And so NVC, lots of you already know, is based on the work of Carl Rogers, influenced by Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and brought together by a man named Marshall Rosenberg. And it looks at what the barriers to peace are and what hinders our peaceful coexistence and the strategies that help bring that into focus. So it's a roadmap or a cheat sheet for me. And human evolution has created a human that excludes, that demonizes, that scapegoats, that blames others when our needs are not being met. So this framework helps us look compassionately at ourselves and at others when our needs aren't being met. And maybe not Harper, but however we're doing it. It's true, though. It's true. When she comes home sometimes from Ottawa, and I say, well, no, anyways. So I've put some colored cards around with some words on them, and some of them are taped behind seats, and some of them were on seats, and a few people up here maybe didn't get them. But if you can look at those words, and if you can't find yours, if you can look at your neighbor's. Sorry, the panelists, you didn't get any. So these are words like respect, safety. So these are, I want you to think about these words and to imagine your life without this thing, without the word on the card that you hold. What would your life be like without that? Hello? Can I give one? And then if you can look at maybe the person's next to you and imagine that your life didn't have that. So what I've given you is one of our human needs, a need that exists no matter who you are, no matter what country you live in, or no matter how old you are. So the basis of this model, of this communication model, is the recognition, the realization that everything we do is based on trying to meet one of these needs. So some of the easy ones are, respect or safety or hunger or sleep. Most of the time those are easy to figure out. And then there's other ones that are less obvious, and the need to know that we matter, or the need to contribute, the need for community. And then, some of them get, more abstract, a little bit more. So they're not always easy to figure out. And I do think about Harper, about those things sometimes, and what those needs are, the need for ease. Maybe that's the terrorist, the foreign, what was the word of... Yeah, the foreign radicals, a need for ease to do. Anyways, I do think about it on the bigger scheme. So they're not always easy to figure out what the needs are, and they're not easy to figure out how to meet those needs. And the important part is the awareness around them. For me, the awareness of what my needs are, and the awareness of what other people's are, where I have conflict. I want to share with you the two metaphors that are used in nonviolent communication. The two animals there's the jackal and the giraffe. So the jackal is an animal that moves close to the ground,